Civilization 5. This series actually hasn't really been too interesting, but we'll continue with it anyways. So basically all I could do is just declare wars at this current moment. There wasn't really much expansion, as they did all the expanding already, and the map has filled up. So, again, these episodes might be way shorter, as it's just mostly focused on wars and fighting. So basically, eventually these countries all discover each other. So basically, there's now trade between these countries here, as there aren't really many. Okay, they don't discover each other yet. Basically, the old world, new world are not connected. Besides the Iris, the Celts knowing of the new world, at least of the Uruguay, because they kind of border them. But other than that, more wars. So Portugal was the last civilization eliminated. But one of the weaker countries is the Byzantines. So the Byzantines, they're surrounded by a bunch of countries. And they have a lot of land, but the problem is the land is discontinuous. So basically, the Ottomans, which is a more connected land, they declare war on the Byzantines. And they take a lot of land from the Byzantines. So the Byzantines, they lose a lot of land here. They even take Constantinople, which is pretty bad. And then the Greeks join in. The Greeks, they see, oh, this is free land. And this is pretty bad for the Byzantines, as they are basically destroyed. And then the Huns join in. And this Ukrainian area they own is completely defeated very quickly, as they don't really have much control over this. This is the massive fall of the Byzantines, which basically makes Greek into the European power, and the Byzantines into defeat. So basically, the borders will be decided. So the Ottomans will get all of here, basically giving them a border with the Greeks. But the Greeks and the Ottomans knew each other before, but they never bordered each other. The Greeks, however, will get all of these provinces right here, and the Huns will finally be more connected. There we go. The Byzantines are gone. The eyesore of a country is gone, so we don't have to worry about the Byzantines anymore. Basically being an weird, ugly snake country. So yeah, the Byzantines are eliminated. Another war is between Persia and India. So India is a very big populated country, and this is actually not a very good idea, because India, but the thing again, Persia, the thing is, the advantage they have is the land. So basically Persia does the first move and invades India. Yeah, but India creates this massive front line, as India has way more people than Persia. Mongolia can't really do anything because of the Himalayas. They do own some parts of northern India, basically, but basically it's like the worthless Himalayan areas. And they also own Kashmir, but they aren't really able to expand much farther. As well, India is able to push them back to basically what it is like this. So basically, it is kind of like an India-Pakistan border at this current moment. But India can't really move past here, and Persia can't really move past here. Yeah, but India does move troops here, and they can't really advance up here or up here because of the bad terrain. So basically, the border is decided like this. That is the update about India. Africa updates in this episode. There will be a war between the Songhai and the Carthaginians. This is a pretty easy war, as it's very hard to track troops through the Sahara Desert. Again, it's not as easy as it is in Civilization, as people need food and water. This causes Ethiopia to also jump in the war and basically take over all of this land. It is much harder to basically advance in the Sahara Desert, which leaves the Carthaginians to control it. So basically, the peace treaty in this war right here will be the Carthage will lose this land here, and Ethiopia will gain this land. Now it's time for some rebellions. So basically, in this center portion of the Huns, a massive rebellion comes in, and basically Kazakhstan basically gains its independence. This region was kind of neglected, and they are now an independent country. Again, they could be basically gobbled up by the Mongolians, but yeah. Another independence movement is the Iris Isles, which are the Celtic Isles right here. The Celtic Isles declared their independence. Basically, there was no people living here, and the Celts can't really defend this territory. So this is just these weird, sparsely populated Celtic islands. Do they really have a capital? Well, no capital will be on the most populated island, which is this little island right here. And yeah, this country will basically be ignored for the rest of the series, as it was kind of weird they owned these islands to begin with. And yeah, same thing with Japan and the upper area of Russia here. But Japan was able to actually defeat them, and this is, the rebellion. This is how they started here. But basically, there's no people here. Japan has at least 20 million people. And the rebellion was basically to put to sleep immediately once the Japanese army, or at least a small portion of it, comes here, as this area they own only has like 50,000 people at most. So the rebellion was basically crushed. In North America, there was a massive war between the Aztecs and the Shoshone. The Aztecs want their former land back, so they declare war on the Shoshone, and they start a massive expansion towards many of the populated regions of the country. And the Shoshone was not expecting this. They were not expecting the Aztecs to push into a lot of the land. This was a very, very unexpected move, but the Aztecs moved into Shoshone land very quickly. But the Aztecs can't really move forward because this is the Rocky Mountains and this is the Great Plains as well. And then they even get pushed back a little bit by the Shoshone army, as they get pushed back in this area here, and they get pushed back to reclaim these cities right here. These are very populated cities. So basically reclaiming them is utmost importance, and even regain some Texan cities. The Aztecs had a big misfire, as they were mostly focused on here. The Shoshone leader was more calculated, and they realized that these areas are very, very undefended. This causes the Aztecs to move back towards the border here, and the Shoshone is actually a pretty powerful country. They have a lot of land. They don't have a lot of population, but they have a lot of defendable land. They have a defendable land right here. They have the rivers like around here, and basically all here is this really that's what Colorado is. Basically, most of here is very defendable. It's deserts and mountains. The only country that can really invade them at this moment is the Iroquois, and even then, the Iroquois can only really go up to kind of around here. And this causes a big problem with the Iroquois and even the Aztecs, and they can't really expand that way. Even the Iroquois, they decide to get into this and say, hey, we're going to also expand. So they start to expand also into Shoshone territory. But they realize that this is not a very good idea, as the same problem is this is a massive front line for countries that are not that strong. So the Shoshone actually, they're on a two-front war, but this is a pretty big miscalculation, and both the Aztecs, Shoshone, and Iroquois end the war. So the Shoshone will get back the land they got taken away from the Aztecs. So this little land here will be taken away. Yeah, all of this for the Aztecs to lose this land. The Iroquois do, however, gain parts of Minnesota. Again, no one really lives here. There was like one major city and that's it. And that is the whole conflict. So the Uruguay and the Sassoni and the Aztecs, they kind of really didn't do anything. And then we have this one American colony in South America. Of course, they're going to break away and form their own country. 3. This causes this country to gain its independence, and their capital will be on the coast, which causes South America to have 3 countries now. This isn't too surprising. Also, nobody lived here either way, so America couldn't really defend this country right here. So, yeah, there we go. And that's it about the Civilization series, or the Byzantines have been defeated. Several countries have gained their independence, and several wars have happened between them, causing massive land shifts to happen. And that's it about this video here. Goodbye.